Hello everybody! So today we're going to learn how to make these Minnie Mouse cupcakes. This is part 2 of my last video in which I made my Mickey Mouse cupcakes. So you can go check that out if you haven't already. And so this is a close-up of what they look like. So this video is a lot like the Mickey Mouse cupcake tutorial, but instead, obviously, it's Minnie Mouse, and so we're gonna add little ruffles at the edge of the fondant, and then we're also gonna make a bow. And I show you 2 ways on how to make a bow in this video. So yeah, let's get started. So for this tutorial, you're gonna need some white fondant, a brush, 2 toothpicks, some food colors in red and black. You're gonna need a rolling pin, some powdered sugar, a small little cup or container with a few drops of water. You're gonna need a cupcake, obviously, 2 round cookie cutters, 1 for the head, 1 for the ears, and the bigger one is about the same size as my cupcake. If you have one that's a little bit bigger, you can totally use that, and that's gonna be perfect. And then you're going to need some white frosting or buttercream and a spatula. To start off, you're going to get some white fondant and dye it black. You want to roll it out and make sure to use a lot of powdered sugar so that it doesn't stick to the surface or to your rolling pin. With your small round cookie cutter, you want to cut out 2 round circles, and these are going to be your ears. Then you want to cut out a big circle with your bigger cookie cutter. And since we want a circle that's going to be a little bit more bigger than the cupcake itself, we're going to, with our rolling pin, roll out some of that fondant. So you don't want to cut your fondant out too thin because we are going to roll it out. So make sure to use a lot of powdered sugar as well. And also make sure to start rolling from the inside out just to get a nice even surface. And also make sure to rotate your fondant also to make it more even and easier to work with. So when you think you've rolled it out enough, you want to measure it again on top of your cupcake, and you want to see if it's the right size. So right here, it looks to be the perfect size. It's a little bit bigger than the cupcake, and the reason that why we want this is because we're going to add a dollop, well, not a dollop, but amount of white frosting on the cupcake. And so we want enough fondant to cover that frosting. So you want to kind of focus all your frosting in the middle of the cupcake. You don't want to add too much frosting on the sides because then when you go ahead and add your fondant, it's going to kind of squeeze out, and it doesn't look very good. So focus most of that frosting in the middle, making it as smooth as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect because obviously we're going to cover it. And so once you put your fondant on, you want to smooth it out with your fingers. And if you have any extra like I did, it seems like I rolled it out too much, just want to cut that out with a knife and smooth it out with your fingers afterward to get a nice even surface. And there you have your perfect little fondant dome. So now we're going to move on to the ears. We're going to take our little cup with the water in it, and we're going to add a little bit of black fondant to it to make a fondant glue. The way that we do this is we add that in, and then with the back of the brush, we're going to just kind of play around with it in the water. I move my fondant to the top of my little cup, so I use it as an angle, and then all the water is down, then I move my fondant to the top and kind of work with it, because you don't want your fondant to get too watered down. You want it to be a little stiff, just like this sort of consistency. Then you want to take your toothpick and take some of that fondant glue and add a line on the back of your ear, and then that's where we are going to put our toothpick. So you just want to set it in and then get some more of that fondant glue and put some on top of the toothpick And the reason why we do that is just to make sure that the toothpick sticks on. We don't want our ear falling off. And then you want to let this dry for preferably overnight, just to make sure that it's all set and dry and stiff. But 2 hours should be fine. But again, overnight is just preferable to ensure that it's all nice and set. Then you want to do the other ear and set it aside to dry. You want to take some white fondant and dye it red. And we're going to move on to the skirt. So you want to roll it out, and then with a knife, you want to cut it across just to get a nice sharp edge. With your big cookie cutter, you want to cut a half circle, and then with your rolling pin, you want to kind of roll it out just like we did with the black so that it fits, and you want a little bit hanging over because we're going to do some ruffles. The way that we do the ruffles is I just use the back of my brush and flatten the edges out a little bit, and then put your brush under the fondant and kind of push down on the sides to make little, you know, ruffles or little kind of tunnel shapes. You guys know what I mean. And just making sure to flatten out the edges, because the slimmer they are, kind of the easier to make the ruffles. Then add a little bit of water to half of your cupcake, and then position your little skirt. If some of the ruffles kind of go away, you can just fix them while the skirt is on the cupcake. And then you want to take some white fondant and make some little balls, and then flatten them out with your fingers. And take your brush and add little drops of water onto your skirt just to get an idea of where you want the little dots to be. And then put your dots on there. You don't want to add too much water because you don't want it to squeeze out. And then right here I'm just adding a little bit of water on the cupcake because I just like how it looks. This is totally optional. You don't have to do this. You can also steam your cupcakes if you want to. But again, this is optional. You don't have to do this. I just like the way that it looks. So now we're going to make the bow. The first way is you want to cut a strip of fondant out and then pull the two ends together towards the middle. You can use your brush to kind of shape the little loops, the little bow, and then cut another strip out and put that in the middle. And that's one way to make a bow. It's really cute, really simple as well. My favorite way to make a bow though is you want to cut out a rectangle and then kind of start pinching it in the middle, kind of just shaping it, gathering it in the middle actually would be a nicer way to describe it, and then just pinch it to make sure that it stays. Then you want to cut out a strip of fondant and add it to the middle, and there you have your nice little bow. This is actually my favorite way to make a bow. I think it's a lot cuter. You want to take your ears once they're dry and try to position them where you want it to be and then stick it in. These ears are different from my Mickey Mouse tutorial ears because these are more round. They're full on circles, whereas my Mickey Mouse ones were kind of moon-like shapes. I don't know if I'm describing it correctly, but you can go to that video to see what I mean. So then you want to put a dollop of your frosting on where you're going to put the bow. The reason we're not using water is because the bow is a little bit heavy. So just to ensure that it sticks, we're just going to use some frosting, and then you place it on and you're done. So that's one way to make a Minnie Mouse cupcake. I hope you guys liked it. And I did wear a Minnie Mouse sweater just like last time. This is actually my sister's. The Mickey Mouse one is mine. But she doesn't know that I'm wearing it today, so I'm not gonna tell her. But anyways, if you missed my Mickey Mouse cupcakes, which was my last video, I'll link it right here. and they're really fun, and you can totally make these and make the mini ones and have a beautiful, nice, cute little cupcake set that you can give out to everyone you see. So yeah, have a beautiful day, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.